Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kemi and I teach you how to express yourself to get the best results possible. Today, I'd like to share with you a few tips on how to respond to toxic communication. Now, you may have been in a situation where you've had an exchange with maybe your colleague or your superior or your boss, and they've said some really inappropriate things to you. Like either they've been abusive, they've been insulting, they've accused you of things that you've not done, and it's just such a terrible situation. And you are wondering, how do I respond to this? How do I respond? What's the best thing to do? Here are 3 tips to guide you on responding appropriately to toxic communication. Number 1, do not respond fire for fire. What do I mean? Don't match the negative energy that you are getting. If your boss is abusing you, it's not the time for you to abuse them back. It's not the time for you to try and show them that you are very sharp and you are a Lagos boy or a Lagos girl and you can show them no one can talk to you anyhow. Please don't do that, because that will not yield the results that you desire. Because the truth of the matter is, in that type of interaction, the perspective would always be tilted in favor of your boss. And no one will hear that, oh, it was the boss that started it, it was the boss that was doing the wrong thing. The part of that interaction that will be expanded is the fact that you were rude, you were insubordinate, you were badly behaved. And the real issue will be totally buried under your negative reaction. So I know it's hard, but no matter what you do not respond fire for fire. Another reason is because in those type of situations where the power dynamic is different, where there is someone that is more influential than you doing something that is not exactly right to your detriment, because you are not on the same level, you do not wield the same level of influence, the dynamic will always favor the other person. So if you respond, give them back as they are giving you, they call you names, you call them names back, you shout, they shout at you, you shout back, the dynamic will be in their favor, and everyone will say you are just badly behaved, and it will be more painful for you because you know that it was an aggression that you were responding to, and the real aggression will not be handled. It's better for you to be silent if you can, or to leave the situation as much as is practicable, or to just take it in, because it's more strategic to do that than to respond fire for fire. Another very important thing to do when responding to toxic communication is to document everything. Document it, particularly in a work setting. The truth of the matter is, except there are witnesses, and sometimes even when there are witnesses, it ends up being your word against theirs. So if you don't have actual evidence of what happened, sometimes it will be much more difficult for you to prove your point when the time or if the opportunity arises. So everything I'm telling you means that at the back of your mind, you need to be thinking strategically, right? And that means, okay, what's the best thing that I can do to protect myself and to ensure that I get the best possible outcome from here? Documentation is key. So if, for instance, the person has given you an instruction or is asking you to do something that is inappropriate, as much as possible, if you can, try and get them to write it down, or write down your response. And in your response, you want to refer to what happened. You want to say something like, you asked me to do X, Y, and Z, and you did X, Y, and Z. This is in response to what you said. Please note that X, Y, and Z. Try as much as possible to reference what they said in your documentation as much as you can, because you want to be able to create context. I know that it's not in all circumstances that this can be easy to do. I'm not under any illusion that it's always easy to do, because again, that power dynamic is there. But as much as possible, document things, create a timestamp for it. Even if it's as basic as sending an email to yourself, sending an email to someone else, and just creating a paper trail that you can refer to in the future. Hard evidence is extremely important in this type of cases. Now, my final point is, in responding to toxic communication, is that you must be objective. What do I mean? As much as it's extremely difficult, you need to view this situation without emotion. And what this helps you do is it helps you to think clearly and make a decision on what next to do. So if, for instance, there's someone that is always abusive to you, you want to think objectively and say, what can I do about this situation? What are my options? If you're in an organization where the person that is communicating poorly with you is the overall head, that probably means that there isn't much feedback or much that you can get in terms of a solution. So the options that you have in that case might be for you to begin to plan your exit from that organization. But you think about it, you assess your circumstances, and you think objectively. If I decide that I can't take this any longer and I quit my job today, what does it mean for me? Do I have a plan? Do I have a fallback option? Is there a plan B? Or is it just an emotional decision that I'm making? In those type of cases, sometimes the victim of toxic communication may find it hard to think objectively. That's when you want to talk to a third party, someone that is removed from the situation, and get them to help you think through the options that you have. It's extremely important that you are making objective decisions, because if you are making decisions clouded by judgment, chances are that you may take a wrong step that will not be beneficial to you, and the perpetrator will just continue. Do you understand? So you want to be thinking carefully, thinking objectively. Like, how can I get, if I want to stay in this organization, or if I have to stay in this organization, is there an option available for me to just stop reporting to this person? Is there anyone that I can escalate to? If at the end of the day, in this organization, it's clear that this thing is not going to stop, after I've tried to create my paper trail, my documentation, what are my other options? What do I need to do to get out of this situation? It may be that, okay, I need to find another job. To get a better job, I need to get XYX certification. I begin to focus my energies on preparing myself for the next opportunity to remove myself from that situation. But if you are not able to think objectively, it's possible that you will make decisions that will hurt you in the long term, and you really don't want that. Toxic communication is something that we would all probably experience in some form or fashion. We will probably likely in our lifetime encounter someone who is badly behaved, who speaks to others rudely, and who is just not appropriate with their communication. In summary, what you want to always bear in mind when faced with that type of situation is not to respond fire for fire. Is to try your very best to create documentation, some sort of paper trail that shows history and gives you receipts of what has been happening, and then to think objectively about what your options are and what your next steps should be. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.